Hey, thanks for stopping by. Today I want to talk to you about manifesting. I have a previous video that gives you tip number one. Here's tip number two. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. Whether you're new or returning, sending the love right back to you. Thanks again for being here. So today I want to give you another idea about, an added idea, I should say, about how to continue this idea of manifesting, of how to create what it is you want. And one of the things that I really believe when we go ahead and start putting what we want into our mind, into our hearts, into our full cellular structure, because that's really what we have to do to manifest. We have to feel it on every level. And that's why last week I mentioned that one of the first things is to really get in touch with whether you have any blocks to manifesting, right? Because we have to feel it on every level. And even, I have to say, in my own experience, even when I have a bad day and I lose hope in what it is I want, I have to go back and ask myself, is it truly what I'm feeling? And if not today, what's blocking it? So let me just say that that practice is ongoing, right? Because we have bad days where we have no faith and we've lost our hope. And so just remember that it's not a one and done thing. We have to continue to check in with ourselves, redefine what it is we want. Now, the other thing, this is tip number two, here we go, is it's very important when you are wanting something and you really believe in it so strongly that you do so without expectation. Having expectations can get us into all sorts of hot water. Especially when it comes to manifesting, because we don't always know how something's going to happen. Certainly, we might have a plan, we might have a guidepost, we might be working on very specific things. So I'm not saying this is all willy-nilly and it just happens, without our involvement. We have to involve ourselves. Can't just sit around and pray for something to happen. Remember, it's a two-way street between you and the universe. So, but it's important not to have expectations, because if you're not flexible, or if you are so sure about how it's going to come or how it has to be, you might miss some important landmarks that come your way. You might actually become disappointed or frustrated or impatient when it doesn't work out exactly as you had anticipated or expected. There have been plenty of times in my life when I was so sure that something was going to happen. I'll give you an example. When I wrote my instructional hand drum book, I had a plan. Great, not a problem. And I was going to try to get it to the publisher by October. I forget what year it was. It doesn't matter. Well, that October, I broke my knee. And finishing that book was impossible. And I went through all the disappointment. I went through all of the frustration at not having that timeline the way I wanted it to, right? Well, I had to get good with myself. I had to figure out how to let go of that and just get zen with the fact that I needed to heal, et cetera, et cetera. The point is that I had this plan and it was fixated in my mind, and I had this expectation of myself and my timeline. But what actually happened with the knee break was that I learned a lot. I'm not going to go into it here, it's too long, but it was kind of an important thing that happened to me. And not only that, but when I finally, a year later, was able to get it to a publisher, it worked out better than I could have anticipated. I mean, for many, many reasons. So sometimes our timeline, just using timeline as an example, and maybe the universe's timeline or just what's meant to be, isn't really what we think it's meant to be. So as I said, it's really important to kind of lower expectations and go in just with the hope and the faith that what you want can be made so. All right, that's it for today. Please leave your comments. Let me know your experiences. If you have questions about any of this, there'll be another tip coming up, I hope next week. And as always, remember, take what you need and leave the rest. Sending you love, sending you hugs. Thanks again for stopping by.